A 24-year-old man was arrested because of a human skull was found at his backyard. I'm going to be giving you a rundown of this story and why I think this whole thing is so devastating. It's even so sad that I'm saying this as a headline. And so, this 24-year-old is a photographer and a boutique owner. He was experiencing low sales in his business, and he expressed this concern and this feeling he was feeling to his uncle. And you would expect that his uncle will be a safe space to pour wisdom into him. The hardship is something that every other person experiences, that there are better ways that he can introduce him to enhance his business. But no, the uncle did not do that. Instead, the uncle told him, there's a ritualist number that I have. I will give it to you. I will introduce you to him. You know, he would help you to boost the business. And the 24-year-old man, I call him a man because I mean, at 24-year-old, you're not a boy at that point. So the 24-year-old man basically decided to go down that devilish route. So the ritualist told him that for your business to bloom, I will give you some materials, which is the human skull, and you'll be using the human skull to bait on Thursdays by 1 a.m. Every Thursday by 1 a.m., you have to bait with the human skull. Just imagine that for a second. Just let that digest to you. If nothing I'm saying digest to you, let that sink into you, you watching me right now. Imagine beating with a human skull to boost your business. Moving on, told him that that will help him boost his business. That the only thing he has to do was to bring out 200,000 naira to be able to pay for his services. And 200,000 naira is big money. Any other person can have different narratives and different excuses of why they think 200,000 is not a big money. It is. I see it as one. And so he brought out 200,000 naira and gave this ritualist. And the ritualist gave him the human skull. And the devastating part of this whole thing is that this guy was baiting with the human skull, took the human skull and was baiting with it, followed the instructions, and was baiting with it for a month. And he did not experience his business blooming. He never experienced it. The business did not bloom, the sales did not increase. And so he called the ritualist that you have to refund my money because the services I paid for, I'm not getting it. And the ritualist, paid him a little sum, 20,000 naira. I now told the ritualist that you have to also come and get your human skull out of here because I'm not going to be part of this. And the ritualist said, no, I am not coming to get that human skull. Let that sink in. And so he said, okay, fine. He's going to, that's a 24-year-old man. He's going to, I don't want to call his name. His name was placed on the headline. I don't want to call his name. So he decided to take the human skull to his backyard in hopes that he's going to throw it away or something. And then he left. And obviously, children will be children. They will love to play around the neighborhood, go places to play around. And then the children came across the human skull and they raised alarm. And everybody got involved, and police was called, and he was arrested. Now, this whole thing, first of all, is so devastating to me. I'm laughing, but it's not a funny thing. It's so devastating to me that this is the state of our society. Because, and some of you might disagree and say, oh, this is just a man thing. It's not the state of our society. It's like, this is the state of our society. This is the state of our men. Hardship, difficult times. And I'm not trying to underrate his difficulty or to say he did not experience difficulty. But the fact that In the midst of difficulty, he ran to his family member to pour wisdom into him to ask for direction. And his uncle, filled with delusion, filled with one kind of demonic spirit, filled with darkness, took him down the path of being engaged, being in business with a ritualist to boost his business. Instead of our uncles, our elders to pour wisdom into the young boys, to make them men so that our society can bloom, so that we can have more leaders, men that have walked through hardship, that is able to lead women, lead families, lead institutions, lead the society forward after experiencing hardship in the desert, learning from those experiences, growing from those experiences to pour into people. Now we have elders that are telling them, you don't need to go through that route of getting wisdom and being a man of integrity. Just enter into ritualism. Just do it now. Do the demonic thing of baiting with human skull. Do the demonic thing. It will bloom your business. You just get it. This is the state of our society, basically. And it's so devastating. Now, this is my message to the mothers and the women and the young girls as well. Whether you are single, whether you're married or you're in a relationship, when you have a boy child, intercede for that boy child, pray over that boy child, and surround him with men of wisdom, not men that are just aged or aged, men of wisdom, men that have walked down the path of hardship, walked the path of integrity, walked the path of difficulty, grew from that path, has passed through the backside of the desert. And I'm not talking about realistic desert, I'm talking about hardship and difficulty, and grew from it, and blossomed from it, and learned from it to become a responsible, more strengthened man by those experiences. Surround your boys by those kind of men. Don't allow your boys to be associated with with boys and men that have nothing to pour into. No oil to pour into your boys. No oil to pour into your sons. Pray over your sons. Speak life over your sons and intercede for them. Don't just give birth to children because I'm in love. So I'm just gonna. No, intercede for them. Pray for them. Let your hand be upon them, speaking life, speaking blessings, speaking. Show them the path of integrity. Tell them it is difficult. Tell them it is painful. Tell them it is hard. But it is worth it because the blessings that will come from that difficult path, from that narrow path, is much more than the blessings. Is much more than the nonsense that will come from walking down the dark path. Instead of an uncle to tell his nephew to invest in marketing strategies, go on social media and advertise his business. Tell him to divide the money, the 200,000 he gave to that Rachel is to divide his invest in social media, change his location, go to different locations to find out if he can reach some certain people that will be interested in buying his things and working with him with photography. Took him down the path of foolishness. So I'm going to speak to our men now. Men of wisdom, men of integrity, men that have walked down the path of hardship, men that chose the right way, men that have gone through difficulty, hard times, and pushed through it, men that prayed and interceded and moved in faith, men that chose the right way. We need your voices on social media. We need your voices all over the place. We need it in newspapers. We need it in different platforms. We need it everywhere because the state of this boys coming up is so devastating.